Welcome back to the MaeMaeTown podcast, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Sabrina Carpenter, right? How, where did Sabrina Carpenter come from? Who made her in a lab? And what is her end game in this life? Because she's unbelievable. And I've heard too from a lot of people on Twitter and stuff like that, they'll be listening to a random genre of music and her songs will come up right afterwards. Like in a radio. Like every radio that you look at, Sabrina Carpenter's songs are on there. I'm like, who? Somebody on her PR team is working, okay? Working. And I'm so here for it. She is incredible. She is gorgeous. Her music, oh my god. I love her vibe so much. It's a Sabrina Carpenter year. And I love her. When she announces that stadium tour, arena tour, whatever it's going to be, I will be sat. I don't care how much it costs. I will be there. You better believe I will be at the Sabrina Carpenter show. I didn't go to any of her previous smaller tours, but you know she's going to be touring arenas. And I think she's going to announce it soon. Um, Anyways, how is everybody doing? I hope you guys have had a wonderful week. Shout out to everyone who's watching on Twitch right now. Also, shout out to everyone listening on Spotify in the future and watching on YouTube. Hello, hi, how are ya? Hope you guys are well. Yeah, I hope everyone has had a great week. I feel like I say that every single time, multiple times, but it's because I mean it. I hope you've had a wonderful week. I hope you've acted your wage this week. Did you act your wage this week? Did you do more work than you were supposed to? Don't tell me that. Tell me that you pooped on company time. Please. Please and thank you. But yeah, if you are listening on Spotify or if you're watching on YouTube, you can be a part of the live chat on Twitch when I do these episodes every Sunday at 5 or 6 p.m. Eastern time. Today I did an hour later. I've been doing 5 p.m. But today is Father's Day, which happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, all the daddies out there, all the father figures. If you're someone who is not celebrating today because you do not have a father, I'm sorry, this is gonna sound super cold, but trust me, I mean well. Maybe you have a grandfather or an uncle or a friend that fills that void for you, that cares for you and loves you. Shout out to them. You guys are doing amazing work and you're very important and we need you guys. We need you. But yeah, if you are celebrating with your father or father figure today, I hope you guys have had a great day, a good relaxing day. I hope you guys have done something fun or have eaten something good. I just got back from hanging out with my dad, who is literally the coolest person ever. I was gonna get him on today's episode, but we've had a very busy few weeks, and he just got back from being out of town, and so I wanted to give him a day to reset and decompress. And I'm actually going out of town on Tuesday. I'm going to the beach. I'm so excited. I just found out I can go down like a day early, so I'm very excited to go. It's all I've been thinking about. And Neo Doodles will be joining me on Friday, and we're gonna have so much fun. There's gonna be lots of beach content. I've been talking about this on stream for weeks, and I know it's getting annoying, but trust me, the content will be good. I promise. We're going to Disney World. I'm gonna shut up about it after this episode. But I just am so excited, and we've been really excited about it. But yeah, I love the beach. It is so healing for my soul. Y'all know, if you've ever been to the beach, if you've been near the ocean, it is so calming. Something about the vibe of whatever town the beach is in, like, it's a vibe, dude. And I'm so excited because Atlanta sucks, man. It's not that it sucks. It's a city. It's one of the biggest cities in the United States. And so there's a lot of people, a lot of noise and traffic, and getting away and going to the beach is like one of my favorite things. So I'm just very excited. Have so much fun. Thank you, Keegs. Yeah, you can be a part of the chat if you're listening in the future. If you want to contribute to the conversation. I try to read chat as much as I can, especially when I don't have a guest. I like to be more interactive with the chat, but sometimes I'm on a tangent, and if I veer off, I'm never getting back. You know what I mean? I have ADHD, so I got to be mindful of how much I divert my attention, you know? But yeah, so a lot of exciting things coming up this week. I had a great visit with my dad. We were just catching up on things, and I am probably gonna be sappy about my dad today because it is Father's Day, and you know, I try to talk about my dad regularly on stream, but today is his day, you know? So I wanted to give a shout out to him and give him a little platform. It sounds so stupid. I just want to talk about my dad today. 'Cause I am very fortunate to have a very supportive dad, and he literally supports me in anything that I want to do, no matter how short-lived or stupid it is. He always supports me, and I can't ask for a better dad. So shout out, Dad. I don't know if he'll listen to this episode, but I know my stepmom Jennifer listens, so I'm sure she'll tell him when she hears this. But yeah, today's gonna be the daddy episode. Jesus Christ. It's Father's Day, y'all. Neo says can confirm. Oh wow, we're shortening that. Can firm. I'm gonna start saying that. I can firm it that my dad is very cool and sweet. He really is. Like, I hit the jackpot with my dad, seriously. And I feel so lucky. I feel so lucky every time I, doubt myself or think I'm, I tend to isolate myself a lot, especially when I want to accomplish something, I really isolate myself because I feel like I'm the only person that can and should make something happen in my life. I don't know if anyone else deals with their goals or their problems in the same way, but whenever I have like a conflict or something that I want to do, like maybe I need to make a certain amount of money, and so I have to work really hard, I always isolate myself from everybody else until I, overcome that. And I just feel like I have to do everything on my own. And every time I, sit down and talk with my dad, I realize I don't have to do that. And he's always there to support me. And I know that that's rare for people. And so I feel very, very fortunate. And I hope everyone out there at least has like somebody that they feel that support from as well. It doesn't have to be a dad. It doesn't have to be even a grandfather. It can be just someone in your life that you feel like you can come to with anything. It can be like a mother figure, just someone that you can always feel like, if you need help or support, like they're always going to be there for you. You know what I mean? I'm just very fortunate that it happens to be my dad. And he also just like professionally inspires me so much because he tried a lot of creative ventures and businesses throughout my whole life, and I know before I was born he did as well. I just wasn't around for it, but I do remember growing up he tried a lot of small business ventures like marketing. He's a very creative person. Both of my parents, my biological mother, who has not been around for 20 years, she passed away. She didn't leave, but also you'll notice that the way I like talk about trauma is like in an unconventional way. It's not funny, but it's just like, you know what I mean. I think other people deal with that in the same way. But basically we lost her 20 years ago, and I'm very fortunate to have my stepmom Jennifer, who's been in my life for basically like more than half of my life, and literally hit the jackpot with her and my little sister Lydia, who I'm going to have on the podcast. She's hilarious, and I can't wait for that. So like, over the years I watched him try to make a lot of things happen, and everything he does, he gives 100%. And even when it's not the right thing, he moves on to something else. Like, like I said, he's tried, starting marketing companies. He's created products. He started a pine straw business at one point. So on the weekends, we would go and deliver pine straw to people. He is a very talented painter and made at least like a side hustle off of selling paintings of people's pets, like especially during the holidays. And like, he's so good that people were literally asking him for them after he was like, I'm not really gonna do that anymore. I think for him, like, when he experiences that burnout, that's when he stops. And I'm literally the same way. It's kind of scary. But he tried his whole life to, you know, make something happen. And I feel like it finally did happen like 8 years ago when he started his real estate business. And now he owns like 30 plus properties, and he can travel with my stepmom whenever they want. And like, that was just 8 years ago. I'm 29 for reference. So it's taken a lot of years for him to find that thing that got him to the lifestyle that he's always wanted, and that he's always wanted for me and my siblings as well. And in a weird way, I am kind of working towards that. I don't work for anybody. I have, in the last 2 years, found ways to make money on my own schedule. Like, I'm in control of... I've been doing Uber Eats basically for the past 2 years, plus Twitch, plus side businesses. Like, I have an eBay store where I sell collectibles and anime stuff. It's a wreck. Obviously, don't look. If you're watching the YouTube video, don't look. It's constantly a mess. It's a creative mess. Basically, any way that I can make income, I'll give it a try. Not everything, but not that there's anything wrong with that. You know what I mean? If you know, you know. But yeah, I basically, like, I've been very inspired by him, and that is, I think, the goal for most people, is to not have to work for anyone, especially in this day and age where it really sucks to work for most companies and most people, because we just don't get paid enough. Morale is low. If you work for a company that you love, that's great. That's incredibly rare. But I'm really happy for you. Me personally, I'm not the type of person that can work for somebody anymore. It's not that I'm difficult. I would consider myself to be an incredible worker at every job that I've worked. I'm more than a team player. I'm always the first one to, pick up a shift, that kind of stuff. When I'm there, I don't complain. I bring a positive attitude, yada, yada, yada. But in my experience, there's always, like, at least, after college, when I started, like, working different jobs, there's always somebody in the higher ups that ruins it for everybody else. And if they would just remove that one person, it would make the environment way better. But it never happens, right? Especially when it's a family run or family owned business. If I can give any advice to any, like, up and coming, like, young workers who, you start working when you're a teenager, whatever, if you are starting to work for the first time, avoid family run businesses, because you will find that whenever there's conflict or drama, nothing will change. Because what are they going to do? Fire grandma? Fire the wife? No. They're not going to, because that's their family. They have to make it work. And sometimes they will bring down everybody else to make it work, even if it's not working. And I just dealt with that for so many years. I would, try different jobs. I have like 10 years in hospitality and customer service, working in food, in the spa industry. And it always ends the same way, where there's like one toxic person, whether that's a manager or an employee, but they refuse to get rid of that person because they're afraid of confrontation. I don't know what it is, but I just got sick of it. And I actually left my last job 2 years ago to do Uber Eats full time, because I realized I was losing money being at work because I wasn't able to do deliveries. And so I quit. And I never looked back because I make more money than I've ever made in my life doing Uber Eats. And I know that's hard to believe for some people, but it's true. I once made I used to live in Nashville, which if you live in Nashville and you want to do like food delivery, that's the best city to do delivery in. I don't know what it is. People are really generous with their tips. If you go down to Franklin, that's all you need. Get out of Nashville, first of all. Central Nashville, people tip really badly. But if you go down to like Franklin, where all the wealthy people are, you'll make really good tips. If you're like good at customer service, if you're a horrible, like, I don't know, like if you're bad at customer service, you might not get a good tip. I don't know. I just have a lot of experience and I pride myself on that. I worked for Chick-fil-A for 7 years, so I feel like I'm pretty good. But yeah, I made one Friday, I'll never forget, I made almost $400 in one day. And I worked all day, but I made almost $400, which is like, never made that much money in my life in one day. And that for me was the moment where I was like, man, when I'm in control of how much money I'm making, like the sky is the limit. And you know, I get a lot of comments from people here and there about like, oh, what about your car? You're putting the miles on your car. That's like so much, you know, what about gas? It's honestly like, I would rather do all of that than clock in. I would rather do all of that than clock in. I'd rather do the repairs, which honestly, I have a great car and I knock on wood, I've never had any major repairs to my car. I've put the miles on, but I also bought my car in 2021 with 80 miles on it. So I've had a lot of wiggle room basically to do delivery. It would be cool if Uber came out with like Uber cars that you could rent for like a really low price if you work a certain amount of like hours or do a certain amount of deliveries, you qualify for it. Because I would honestly do it like long term, but I know there will come a day where I can't do it anymore. But for now, it's, you know, allowing me to have complete freedom in my schedule. If a family member needs help, I'm there, you know, like if I want to go out of town, sure. And the cool thing is if I'm in the States and I drive, guess what? I can work wherever I travel, which is what I plan to do when I go to the beach. So I'm going to be able to stay there longer because it won't matter if I come home or not. I can still make money. You know what I'm saying? So needless to say, if you've got a good car and you live in a major city, try it out. Do some delivery. I don't do DoorDash. I kind of hate that they get grouped together because they are not the same thing. I hear that DoorDash is more strict with their windows of delivery. Like you can only deliver for like 4 hours at a time. I don't know. I heard that from someone and I was like, Uber lets you deliver for 12 hours a day. Like at 12 hours they take you offline because it's not safe, right? You shouldn't be working more than 12 hours driving. That's really dangerous. But yeah, you can work 12 hours a day and I certainly have because I'm crazy and I like money. I like money. To me, and this might be cringe, to me, it's like a video game. Whenever I see those numbers pop up, I'm like, yes, yes, yes. I try to get the high score every day. And I will say I am kind of a perfectionist and I am hard on myself. It's something that I'm working on. But I go for that high score every day, baby. And like, usually I don't come home until I've made at least $100. I shoot for at least $100 a day. And sometimes I make more and then I take time off as I need and it's super chill. And I feel like I'm a great driver because I've driven so much between Atlanta and Nashville. I can drive in any city. I've driven in LA before. I'm ready for anything. But JT says gas and car repairs might be able to be written off for taxes since it's for work. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Every year when tax season comes around, I'm writing off my car payment. Hey, anything to do with your car is a write off. That includes car washes, uh, oil changes, literally car insurance, your car payment. I pay off my car, so I write off my monthly car payments. Um, they let you write off a certain amount of meals, so meals that I would have when I'm out doing deliveries, you write it off. And then when everything's said and done, I barely owe anything. I don't owe anything because I write off so much. This year I had to pay a little bit, like $100, because I made more. I made more this last year. But the year before, I didn't owe anything. And I was like, oh, well, that's worth it, I think. And I had to pay a little bit more because of Twitch. This is the first year I claimed Twitch, which don't even ask me how to do that. I think I did it wrong. I have no clue how to report Twitch money. I just kind of like did a random form. I guess it was right because they approved it. I don't understand taxes at all. I do TurboTax, and they kind of help with most of it, but at the same time, I feel like I'm not doing it right. So, I don't know. We'll see. I'll let you guys know if the IRS comes after me. Keek says, "Why did she threaten us with her earbud?" Yeah, for the Spotify users, I was using it as like a, I don't know, like if I'm a teacher and I'm like, you need to do your homework. I do that sometimes. I don't know. But yeah, Uber has been great. I would say the only downside of it is once you get past like all the traffic and stuff like that, the only downside is that in the back of my mind, I'm like, eventually you won't be able to really do this anymore because eventually your car is going to max out on miles, right? I don't know how many miles I have left on my car, but it'll be in the next 2 years probably. So unfortunately I won't be able to do it long term. I mean, I feel like there are car rental programs through Uber where you can rent a car on a weekly basis or however long, but you pay on a weekly basis, and it's like $200 a week, which for me it just doesn't make sense right now because I'm paying off my car, and my car payment, full transparency, is like $300 a month. So financially that wouldn't make sense for me right now, but if I do pay off my car in full and I still want to keep doing Uber, that is an option where I could pay, a bit more week by week to just rent a car. But I do hope that in the near future I find a different source of income that won't, where I won't have to do Uber. But right now it's paying the bills and it's giving me, complete freedom to do whatever I want, whether that's streaming or traveling. Being in a long distance international relationship, it allows me the freedom to, to visit Neo, and that's really important right now. So it's worth it. It's worth it. And my dad, going back to my dad, he's been very supportive and excited about Twitch and the podcast, especially. Like I feel like my parents tell everybody about like my streaming and my podcast, and it just feels really good to like know that my parents support me in whatever creative endeavors I decide to do, especially one that's kind of like unconventional. It's not like working on movie sets, which I do have a film degree that I don't use because I don't really want to work in the film industry. But Twitch is kind of a weird thing to explain to people, especially when they're in a different generation, right? Because it's like, oh, you play video games online and people give you money. Like that's really hard to explain to like our parents' generation, especially their parents' generation. But I'm fortunate because like my parents and my family have been very supportive, and they're very curious about it, and I'm glad that it's that I can talk to them about it, and they can be excited for me. But yeah, my dad's always supported me, whether that's with film, which I did want to be in the film industry at one point. He was very I will say this about my dad, and this is not to knock him down a peg, but when I first went to college, I went in for music business because I think he always wanted me to get some kind of a business degree because it's a safe degree, right? Like if you come out of college and you have an MBA, you can get pretty much like any job because you have a business degree, right? But after the first semester, I basically failed out of my music business survey class. I didn't get it. It made no sense to me. All the copyright law stuff, I was like not feeling it at all. And at the time, I didn't even know that my school had a film program because it was only like 2 semesters old. But the moment I heard about it, I was like, that's what I'm supposed to do. That's the major that I'm supposed to do. And so I went and met with the chair of the program, and there was literally like 10 people in the program. But I was like, this speaks to me way more than music business. And I think it was also like being in that class, I just noticed like certain types of personalities that I just did not have. I think in the music business, you have to be really fierce. And that's not to say that you don't have to be fierce in the film industry, because you obviously do. But the music business industry is different. It's more cutthroat, in my opinion. Whereas I feel like the film industry is more collaborative, and so you need people. You need to be able to work with people who are on your level. You know what I mean? Like with music business, it's like you're managing an artist, or you're in law, so you're dealing with paperwork all day. You know what I mean? And I just never had that personality where I was like, yeah, I'm gonna sign them. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, I just don't like this. I love music. I've done music my whole life, and I love that. But I knew I wasn't good enough to pursue it in college, especially the college I went to. It was a liberal arts school. I was like, one day on campus, and I was like, oh, this would have been really difficult for me, and I would have dropped it. I would have changed majors for sure if I came for music. So I told my dad that I wanted to drop music business and go into the film program, and he was resistant. He was like, that seems like, not a reliable degree. Like it's fully an arts degree. And what if, you can't get a job? I think our parents, like, they want us to have that sort of security with a degree. But as we've all found out, like, having a degree doesn't even guarantee you a job. Like, you can have a degree, do the internships, network, and you still might struggle to find a job, because that's just the market right now. Like, it's really hard to find a job right now. And I've seen a lot of people on TikTok who are more than qualified for the jobs they're applying for, and they're just not hearing back. Like, they're just not hearing back, or they're going through 3 interviews and they're not hearing back, or they're getting rejected. And it's crazy. And I think our generation, like, we can learn pretty much anything we need to know. We can learn it online and apply it. And you either have the skill and you can prove yourself, or you need to try something else, right? Like, maybe it doesn't work. But going to college is such a huge financial gamble. And you might get into your second year and you've paid for all these classes, and then you realize, I don't like this anymore. But you can't go back because you've spent half your college career on these classes. And it's like, well, I might as well finish, which is kind of how I felt about my film degree. I got to junior year and I was like, I don't even want to be in college anymore. I just want to, like, drop out and work and travel and, like, figure it out. But I was way too far in, and there were a lot of people, who really wanted me to finish. And so I did. I finished, I graduated, and I have not used my degree. I will say I've used, like, my cinematography skills and editing skills to do content creation. I did work as a social media manager at some point, and so I applied my cinematography and editing to that, and also networking with influencers and stuff like that. So I did apply some of it, but I haven't been on a set in probably, geez, like 5 or 6 years, and that's fine. I'm not opposed to working on a set, but I think for me it would have to be like an indie set. I don't think I would like to work on a Hollywood set because I have before and I didn't really like the vibe. You get great food, you eat really good food, you get unlimited coffee and snacks, and the pay can be pretty good. But I didn't like the energy. It was kind of menacing to me. Um, uh, let's see. I'm gonna read the chat for a second because we got people talking. Um, let's see. JT says I have a networking degree I want nothing to do with. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like some people, myself included, you'll get to a certain point where you're like, do I even like this anymore? And I think it's because, like, especially, I will say in the United States, I think we're like the only country that really puts a lot of pressure on this specifically. But there's a lot of pressure to go to college straight out of high school when you're barely 18 years old. I didn't know who I was until I was well after 25 years old. Like, I didn't know I wanted to do Twitch specifically and like pursue this path of like content creation and live streaming and stuff like that. I didn't know I wanted to do that till like 2 years ago. And I'm 29. So imagine me being 18 or 19, pursuing a music business career and like, and then pursuing film. I don't want to do film. And now here I am, right? So I think there is a lot of pressure on American kids to make that decision literally sometimes at 15 years old. Like when I was in high school, there were a lot of people who freshman year, they knew where they were going to college. They knew what they were going to study. And I was just like, wait. And looking back too, like that is too young. And some of those people, like they stuck to it and that's what they do. And sometimes you do know. But I think to put that pressure on everybody as a whole, as a society, I think that is wrong. And if I had a kid, I would not put the same pressure. And of course, by the time if I do have a kid, which I'm not gonna lie to y'all, probably not gonna happen. But if I did, by the time that happens and they're going to college, will college even be a thing anymore? Who knows? I know that sounds crazy, but think about how quickly things change over the years. How quickly, the economy changes over the years. Who knows what that's going to look like in 18 or 20 years. I mean, I don't think we're going to have conventional college anymore. I think it's going to be maybe an online situation, but it's not going to be the same. But I do encourage any high schoolers out there who are listening. I know that your parents want the best for you, but at the end of the day, like, just do what makes you happy and try to get them to see where you're coming from. Like, if you can't just not go to college, focus on your core classes, like your Englishes, your maths, your sciences. Just focus on that freshman year, get that out of the way, and then really think about what do you want to do in life and if it's worth going to college for. I mean, if you get your core classes out of the way, you can at least come back, in a year or two when you figure out what you want to do. Like looking back, I wish I had gone to school for game design. I wish I had studied game development because it would have applied to what I'm doing right now. There's so many days where I'm just like, man, I wish I could work on a development team, even doing marketing. Like, I wish I had gone into that world, but I wouldn't have known. I was so young. I didn't know who I was. I just, like, how would you know, right? Some people do. I didn't. It took me a while to really figure it out. But let me see, what else are people saying? I love having conversations like this, by the way, because, like, I feel like a lot of people can relate to it, you know? Um, Noodle says, I applied to Whole Foods back in April and I didn't get rejected until June. That's what I'm talking about. I feel like even in the grocery stores, the food industry, like people are just not hearing back, or it's like super delayed. It's like, dude, I've already like looked other places. I don't know. But they also say that they're urgently hiring. I'm like, are you really? Are you really? Um, Keeg says, me with a psych degree working a gas station job a month post graduation. Yeah, dude. Like, I feel like most people are in that boat. It's because we have to make money, but sometimes we can't land the job right out of college. Um, or the gas station job makes you more money than a job in your field would. You know what I mean? Um, Noodle says, a couple years ago, I applied and had an interview at Crumble Cookie. After the interview, they emailed me about pay, and then after I responded, I haven't heard from them since. So they basically offered you the job, and then they didn't follow through with it. Crazy. Um, JT, you were 18 years old when you made the choice on that major. Yeah, 18 is way too young. Like, let the 18-year-old make that decision, if because some people come out the womb and they know what they want to do. Like, for example, my little cousin, he's gonna be 16 soon, but he's gonna be like a pro golfer. And I took him to the golf course this week, and he was telling me about how he, is like doing all this prep work so that he can go to school on a golf scholarship, and I'm sure he wants to play professionally. But he's the type of person, that's what he's doing. That's what he's gonna do. That's in his blood. He eats, sleeps, and breathes it. And I'm very proud of him, because I was not thinking about that at 15. And so I think some people, they have that passion inside of them from the time that they're a young child, and that's wonderful. But I think to put that pressure on teenagers as a whole is just, it's not good. It's not healthy, and it's not productive, and it's a waste of money, because usually people change their major because they're like, oh wait, I'm 20 now, I don't want to do this, because my frontal lobe is forming. Like, that's what happened with me. I was like 25, I was like, oh, my brain has fully formed. I don't want to do any of the things I just spent the last 5 years doing. Keeg says, you're preaching right now. Like I said, I think everyone can relate to that, because we're all suffering in some way when it comes to jobs and money. So yeah, I don't know what we do about that. I think just follow your dreams. Just do what makes you happy, because what else are you going to do, right? Like, at least if you have to do something, make it work. Like, that's why I've been doing Uber Eats for so long, because it's like, I know I want to stream, and I want to do the podcast and all these other things that I want to do in that realm. And Uber is allowing me to have the freedom to do that, where I don't have to be at a job from 9 to 5 or 5 to 10 or whatever. And I can work around my own schedule. So it's like, I'm making it work for myself. And I'm in a position where I'm lucky enough to have a car that will allow me to do that. I know a lot of people don't have that. But for me, this is working, for what I want to do. Or if you have to work a gas station job to, alongside your internship for the job that you really want. Like, that's another example of that. It's not ideal. Who wants to work 2 jobs? But, we're all just kind of feeling around in the dark here, I think. Noodle says, almost 22 here, and I still don't know what I want to do. 2 years ago, I wanted to do makeup artistry. Now I want to bake. Dude, I went through very similar experiences as you, where I wanted to be an esthetician at some point, because I worked at a skincare spa at the front desk, and being around that, and also just being into skincare since I was 13. I was like, yeah, I want to do that. And then I was like, oh, you have to pay to go to school. Can't afford that. All right, moving on. And then I was a baker in a vegan cafe. And that was really fun. That was an independent work job that I really enjoyed, but I left because it was run by a toxic family, and So unfortunately I had to leave. But yeah, 3 years ago I wanted to sell crochet plushies. That's cool. Like, I think, Noodle, you're just creative. I think that's the hardest part about being creative, is that you want to do so many things at once, and so it's like it's really hard to choose a career path, you know? Um at least for me, that's how I feel. Like, I have a lot of creative passions, and it's like I'm going to have to sacrifice at least one or two of these things, because I can't do everything at once, you know? I can't stream consistently, and I don't know. Like, I'm not going to say I can't do anything, cuz that's putting a roof on my potential, but like, y'all know what I mean. If you're creative and you have a lot of passions, you know how stressful it is to like want to do all of them. JT says, go take general education classes first, for sure. Go to community college if you can. It's cheaper. It's a cheaper way to knock out your core, and then go to apply for a university. You know, if you do well in those classes, you can probably get into like a really good state school, or, you know, a university of your choice. That's another thing. It's like, if you want to go to a really nice like university, you have to like apply for the scholarships, or you have to prove while you're in high school that you're good enough to go to that school. And if you don't, you kind of miss the boat. So it's just like I don't know. It's a game, and I don't like it. Oh wait, sorry. Keeg says, if I'm always going to be poor, I might as well be happy and poor. That's what I'm saying. And the thing about that is, like, you know, if I can speak frankly, which that's what the podcast is, and that's what I want it to be. You know, I'm very privileged to have gone through, how do I say this? I was privately educated for most of my life, and yes, I am grateful that I had, you know, that kind of education. But at the same time, I feel like there was a lot of expectations put on me that I didn't really want, especially going into college. You know, there was a college that I got accepted into in Chicago. I think it was, what was it? I think it was Columbia College of Art and Design. I can't even remember now because it was so long ago. But I got accepted into that, and I ended up going to a private Christian school, which I was privately Christian educated my whole life. And I ended up going there because it was closer to home, and it was a private Christian school. And, you know, I am grateful, you know, for the people that I met there, but ultimately, I don't think it was worth the money, if I can be honest. I think I would have been just as happy at a state school, and then kind of, you know, taking internships or networking as I went through there. But yeah, I think there was a lot of expectations on me to, you know, like, work a certain field and like reach a certain level of success by the time I'm 23. And I didn't do any of that. And so there's always been this like subconscious anxiety with every creative thing that I wanted to do, because it wasn't conventional. It was never conventional. Like, you know, with Twitch, I was always kind of scared to start it because I didn't really know how to explain that to, you know, family and stuff like that. And it wasn't until like recently where I was finally like, you know what? It doesn't matter what people think. It doesn't matter what people think, because at the end of the day, I'm the one that lives with myself. I'm the one that, you know, has to, like, I don't know, like, I am the only person that can control, like, my own happiness, you know, what path I take in life, and what everybody else thinks doesn't matter as long as I'm happy. I don't know if that makes sense. I think I just rambled, but if you come from a similar background where, like, you have a lot of expectations on you and you feel like you have to pursue a certain path for people to be proud of you, it doesn't have to be like that, because I know that people are proud of me. Maybe they wish I had done different things, but they're still proud of me, and they're going to have to be in a weird way. They're going to have to be, because I'm 29, can't go back. Can't do the internships now, baby. I'm here. So that's what I'm doing. And I think people have accepted at this point that this is the path that I'm taking. And as a result, it worked out. I think people are very supportive. And so all that to say, if you're in that situation, don't let it get to you to the point where it keeps you from doing what you want to do. Because you might do what people want you to do. And then 5-10 years down the road, you're going to be like, I wish I had done the thing that made me happy. Because now I'm in this career that I don't want. And it stresses me out, and I wish I had made less money doing the thing that I loved. So that's kind of the position I'm in. Sorry, I didn't mean to get like super deep this episode, but also like I'm happy it did. Noodle says, I thought you were about to say Columbus College of Art and Design. No, it was Columbia. I think it's Columbia College. It's in Chicago. I can't remember. I know there's a Columbia, there's like a big Columbia school, and then there's like Columbia College of Art and Design or something. And I really wanted to go there because I was like, oh, Chicago, like that sounds like it's going to be really cool and artsy. And then I wasn't allowed to go, which is fine. Everything happens for a reason. I was where I was supposed to be, and I made a lot of great friends, and had a lot of great experiences at my school. But I will say this, going off of, success doesn't have to be from a conventional path, like going to school and getting a degree. The best experiences don't always come from that. And what I mean by that is I went to school for film, right? I took a lot of classes on certain focuses like cinematography, editing, just being on set in general, and what to listen out for, what to look out for. So junior year, I ended up having what I would consider to be an emotional breakdown, not a mental breakdown, but an emotional one. And I ended up taking a year off before my senior year. I got to the point where I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do film. And so I was able to drop out and come home for a year. And a few months into that year off, I got a job opportunity to work on a Melissa McCarthy film in Atlanta. And I was only on that set for 2 months. And I made bank, by the way, because I was on set every single day for 8 to 12 hours a day. And I didn't really have time to spend the money because I was always on set and I was living at home. So by the time it was said and done, I had made like $5 or $6 grand. And I was eating on set every day too. So I wasn't spending money on food or anything like that. And in those 2 months that I was on set, I learned so much about the how a set operates, the lingo, what each phrase and everything. I just learned so much. And by the time I got back to school to finish my degree, I remember being like, why are we learning this stuff that I just experienced on this set? There were phrases and things that people shouted out and that we weren't learning about in school. And I was like, man, we're not even really learning what we need to learn at school. We're learning a lot, but there is nothing like actually being there and getting thrown into it. You know what I mean? And a lot of those people, they didn't go to film school. They had connections, whether that's nepotism or they worked their way up from small commercials to the film set. They just met the right people and now they work full time. There's always a set, one after the other. If they finish this movie, they're already booked for the next movie. Atlanta's a great place for that, by the way. There's a lot of film here. Most of the Marvel movies and the Hunger Games were filmed here. I mean, there's always a big production being filmed here. And Walking Dead was filmed here. So if you're looking to get into the entertainment industry, getting into the scene is way more valuable than getting the degree. I'm just going to say it. Getting the degree is cool to have time to practice, like practicing editing and getting instruction and networking with other filmmakers. Sometimes there's really cool internships in LA or New York, so it's valuable for the connections. I won't say it's valuable for the education because you're not going to get nearly as good of an education as you would on set. So that's my advice. That's what I learned in the short time that I was on set. Now I don't really do sets anymore. But Noodle says we didn't ask to be birthed into this world. We didn't. And that's also, like, that being said, you know, who's going to tell you how to live this one life that you get, that you didn't ask for? You know what I mean? You didn't ask for it, but I'm glad you're here, you know? Jay is from Mars says, I'm beautiful. Thank you, Jay is from Mars. I think you're beautiful. Wait, Jay is from Mars? Did I say that right? Thank you. I appreciate that. You're all beautiful. I love you guys. And I think we're about to wrap up the episode for the week. But this week, or the next episode, is going to be exciting because I will be on vacation with Neodoodles. And so we're going to be doing like a vacation podcast episode with some palm trees. I don't know if we're going to be outside because where we're going to be staying, it's like there's a plane going over like every 10 minutes. So I don't know if we'll be outside, but we will still have the window at least, I think. But it's going to be fun, and we're going to be creating a lot of beach vacation content on here, on TikTok, on Instagram, YouTube. I'm going to try to do YouTube vlogs, and it's going to be great. So if you want to keep up with us, you can follow me at MaeMaeTown on everything. Social media, you can follow Neo at Neodoodles with a Z on everything. If you are listening on Spotify or YouTube, come be a part of the chat live on Sundays, usually at 5 p.m. Eastern or 6 p.m. Eastern time. Also, House of the Dragon premieres tonight, baby! And I'm going to be doing a watch party in Discord this evening. Unfortunately, if you're listening to the episode or watching the episode tomorrow, you will have missed it. But I'm going to try to make it a weekly thing for House of the Dragon to watch it in Discord in the watch party. So if you don't have HBO and you want to watch it and you want to watch it with other people, then you can join us in the Discord. It's going to be at 9 p.m. Eastern when it comes out. So everyone get excited for House of the Dragon. I love this show so much. It's so good if you haven't seen it. Take this week to watch the whole show. Watch season 1. And then you can watch season 2 with us. But I hope everyone has a wonderful, wonderful week. I hope you guys don't work too hard and you rest more and act your wage. Remember, if you take anything from this episode, act your wage. And I love you guys. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your night and great rest of your week. And stay hydrated. It is getting hot basically everywhere, especially in the South. Drink water, please. I'm saying that as a reminder to myself when I listen back to this because I drink more iced coffee than water. So drink water, Mandy, please. Drink water, everybody. Have a great day, night, everybody. And I will see you all in the next one. Okay, bye, everybody.